The aftermath of Samuel Samu Garcia's death is depicted in the sixth season of Netflix's teen drama Alight. Ariadna Blanco turns to drink for comfort as she navigates the loss of her boyfriend. Ivan Carvalho is destroyed by a personal tragedy that puts Patrick Blanco and him at odds. Sarah, a social media influencer and half of the well-known duo Serral, is welcomed to Las Encinas. After being sexually assaulted by 3 of her classmates, Isidora Artingen suffers with the trauma and seeks justice only to be let down. The sixth season of the Spanish series follows the format of the first 5 seasons, with the narrative centered around an astonishing mystery. Ivan gets left behind on the road and is hit by a car at the start of the sixth season of Alight. Samu's pals depart Las Encinas upon his passing. Isidora is the manager of the Isidora House, a new bar that her parents open. Ivan and Patrick's relationship becomes strained after Cruz kisses the former. After the video goes viral, Patrick posts a video in which he claims that he started the kiss in order to set things right with Ivan and save the football player's reputation. Cruz is inspired to come out as gay by Patrick's deception. His supporters begin to pick on him after he comes out, which compels the referee to end a football game he is playing in. A bunch of unidentified males beat a distraught Cruz to death because he is gay. Ivan begins to think that Patrick helped his father come out, which led to the football player's demise. Patrick and he broke up for the same reason. The rape accusations against Hugo, Javier, and Lex are dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Didac, Javier's boyhood friend, records his pal confessing to raping Isidora with Hugo and Lex in an attempt to discover the truth behind the same. Despite the fact that Isidora's attorneys reject the confession as inadmissible evidence, she is successful in exposing the truth about her suffering. Hugo and Lex employ Javier to fabricate a story about Ivan raping Isidora together with her companions in an attempt to divert her attention. Isidora first has a partial belief in the same, but Didac makes his friend tell her the reality, which makes Isidora decide to get back in touch with Ivan. Raul, Sarah's aggressive and domineering lover, causes her problems. She has the confidence to end her relationship with her spouse after realizing how violent Raul is thanks to Mencia Blanco. While out having fun, Sarah gives Mencia a kiss, but the latter quickly finds out that the former isn't like girls. Mencia advises Sarah to be honest with herself and asks her not to force affection. When Eri finds out that Nico is a trans man, her biases get in the way of their relationship, even though she is drawn to him. To move on from Eri, Nico dates Sonia, but he finally comes back to her. Eri understands that her fear of hurting Nico, the way she harms Samu, is destroying their friendship. Bilal joins up with Eri, and Rocio has a thing on him. Nevertheless, Rocio makes an effort to get together with him whenever she sees him at his place of employment, the Isidora House. Bilal brings her luggage home after she leaves it at the bar, where they end up kissing. Eri is asked by Benjamin Blanco to testify on his behalf and persuade Patrick and Mencia to follow suit. To make them think differently, he even gives them 3 cars. Eventually, with a goal in mind, Eri is able to persuade both of her siblings. Eri finds out she is expecting Ivan's child at Isidora's pub on a night of Venetian Carnival. She leaves the pub in astonishment and doesn't talk to her friends or siblings on the way out. Raul gives Mencia a medication, and despite her sister being close to unconscious, she pursues her. She discovers that the car's front glass is half broken when she wakes up. Eri informs her over the phone that Ivan was struck by an unidentified vehicle, leading Mencia to assume that she was the one who struck her brother's partner. But in reality, it's Sarah who runs over Ivan. Sarah discovers that her friend is ill when she runs into Mencia outside the bar, barely able to stand up straight. Mencia informs Sarah that Eri is ill, and Sarah gives the former the key to Patrick's automobile. Mencia, feeling ill, sits next to Sarah while she drives. Sarah loses control of the automobile and hits Ivan while attempting to check in on Mencia. Startled, she reaches out to Raul, who leads Mencia to the driver's seat and cleans the car to remove Sarah's fingerprints. Sarah is persuaded by Raul that their actions are correct because, unlike Sarah, Mencia comes from a wealthy and powerful family and can handle the problems of the same. Sarah is somebody that thrives as an influencer on social media. The last thing Ivan wants is for the world to know that she was the reason for someone's death should die. She worries that the truth will lead to a significant loss of supporters, which will have an impact on her ability to survive. If Ivan survives the accident, Sarah also wants to avoid the legal struggle against him because he has the riches and power to ruin her life. She agrees to Raul's plan because she thinks Ivan will not forgive her, but will forgive Mencia because the latter is the sister of his boyfriend. Friends and acquaintances of Ivan dread the worst, yet he survives. Patrick is able to get him to a hospital in time for his window of opportunity. By performing surgery, the doctors prevent Ivan from passing away right away. They don't guarantee Patrick, Ariad, and Mencia that Ivan will live in the end, but the odds are really slim that he will. As the end draws near, Ivan regains consciousness and calls out for Patrick, which is a sign that he will undoubtedly avoid dying. Hugo and Alex decide to rape a female they encounter on the dance floor during the Venetian Carnival night at Isidora's pub. Hugo feels that forcing himself on someone will give him the excitement to obtain an erection after inadvertently injecting a drug Isidora had hidden in his backpack and failing to acquire one. After figuring out his two friends' plot, Javier tells Isidora, who then phones the police. Javier also appears to have admitted to the police that he raped Isidora alongside Hugo and Alex. In an attempt to mend their differences, Isidora sees Didac following the arrest of her rapists. An automobile pulls into the Las Encinas parking lot as an unidentified individual fires multiple gunshots. Given that the gunman pulls a gun on Isidora while she is on the property, it is possible that the shooter is a relative of Hugo and Alex seeking revenge on the two rapists. The individual, who is probably attempting to kill Isidora for ending Hugo and Alex's lives, could be a relative or someone employed by the boys' families. Hugo and Alex most likely hail from influential families in Spain, as the boys attend a school that only admits pupils from the most powerful families in the country. If that's the case, the families' reputations must have suffered after Hugo and Alex were arrested, which would have inspired them to get revenge on Isidora, the source of their problems. Didac may have been killed, but he must have sought to hide Isidora from the gunman if he fired at her. It must also have been Isidora who was shot at. Ariad perceives Mencia's admission that she ran over Ivan as the last straw in their miserable Madrid existence. Benjamin and his kids travel to Madrid in search of a new beginning for their lives. However, the transfer sets the stage for Samu's death, Mencia believing she almost killed her brother's lover, Ari's near-death experience and unplanned pregnancy, and Mencia being assaulted by Armando de la Osta. Ariad, on the other hand, understands that they must flee to a location where they will not be obliged to confront their past traumas. Ari must have come to the realization that she could not live with Ivan after terminating his pregnancy. After missing his opportunity with Nico, Ari doesn't want her sister Mencia to be charged with Ivan's murder should he pass away. She is aware that contrary to Mencia's conviction that her sister ran over Ivan and could face jail time, her sister is not strong enough to conceal this. Ari isn't ready to part from her brother and sister, who are the only things she has left in the world. Additionally, she doesn't want Patrick to sustain recurrent injuries in the unlikely event that Ivan survives. She forces her family to flee the city where she and her siblings endured a great deal of hardship. But it's possible that Ari, Mencia, and Patrick won't be able to permanently leave Madrid. It is evident that Ivan would make an effort to get back in touch with his partner, since he regains consciousness and begins to inquire for Patrick. Should Patrick learn that Ivan is still alive and well, he might return to Madrid right away to be with him. Mencia and Ari might not want to be apart from their brother either. Isidora had been dying to get close to Didac ever since she first met him. She is hesitant to commit to Didac, nevertheless, because he is her close friend and the rapist Javier. She finds it intolerable that her boyfriend continues to have a role in her rapist's life. Furthermore, the trauma of being sexually assaulted prevents her from believing in anyone, not even Didac. For this reason, she doesn't think about dating at first. However, Javier's police confession and his guarantee that Didac can be trusted completely give Isidora the confidence she needs to repair their relationship. Even with Didac, Isidora isn't ready to fully put her trust in a guy just yet. However, she gives him a kiss to let him know that she is changing. Isidora and Didac are anticipated to be together if they are not shot to death by the as-yet unidentified assailant. Isidora will probably gradually come to trust Didac. She could soon be able to spend intimate moments with him without having her past haunt her. Didac is kind enough to assist Isidora in letting go of the ghosts of the past, while also being patient enough to allow her all the time she needs to adjust to her new life. Given that their family hasn't shown them love, Isidora and Didac might discover affection and a place to call home in one another.